Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Entitled, where we talk to the entrepreneurs, the thought leaders, and the top practitioners of the real estate industry.
Tongue twister.
Tongue twister this morning.
It's not even a Monday.
I know, right? Hi, I'm Bernie Espinosa, along with my co-host.
David Bellinger. Hey, everyone.
Hey, so welcome. And we've got a great guest today.
Yes.
And welcome again to Entitled, where it's our fun little name because David and I both work in the title industry. So we thought, why not? Entitled.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Wink, wink.
Right.
But today we have an awesome guest, Nick McCully. He is with McCully Construction. And I think that the reason why David and I were so interested in having you come spend some time with us is that you're, first of all, I've known you for the better part of 20 years.
Yeah, I was thinking about that this morning. I think it's at least 15.
At least 15.
2010.
Yeah, we've got some fun stories.
Yeah. That is a true story.
Got some good stories. But I think it's really cool, the evolution of starting out in the real estate business and now running a construction company that's not your typical construction company. So I thought David and I were like, let's dive in because I think your offering to the real estate community is unique. Yeah. And it deserves a conversation. You're doing something different.
Yeah. I mean,
so welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Obviously kind of came from that side of the fence and now we have great partnerships with a lot of real estate agents in town and it's just part of what we do. It works really well. So
it's almost like you have two markets. You have what you do and then there's the market of the agent community, the real estate community, and then you have the actual clients that you serve.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit about how'd you get started? I mean, I know your story, but a lot of other people don't. So
sure.
Yeah.
So kind of dove into the real estate experience in the 2005 timeframe as a lender, working with different investors who were acquiring real estate. Ended up partnering with a real estate agent at the time, and then we just worked with a bunch of investors all the way through kind of that market collapse of 07, 08, and then we pivoted from there into distressed properties, which is about the time we met.
Yeah.
So
I actually think when we met, it was like day one of you actually being licensed because you guys you had gone from just being on the investment front lines, and then the market tides shifted, and we're like, if you're an investor, you should be licensed because of the nature of the transactions at that time.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, because I was doing it in 2005, and then I ended up getting licensed in 2010, March of 2010. So, and that must have been about the time frame. So, all the distressed real estate,
that was
right?
Great times then.
Yeah, the wild west of short sales.
Totally.
And everybody had to figure it out together, including the banks and what the market was going to be, and ran with a great group of people during that time frame. So, with you, Brian North, a lot of other people.
Derek.
Yep.
Funny story. I literally remember the first time we met. Do you?
Was that the first time? Up in the Fidelity office?
Nope.
No, I don't.
Okay, so this is a funny story.
I feel like it's a test. Like
It probably is.
Do you remember that?
It's actually a funny story. I thought about it on the way here today. Was I was presenting for your brokerage, Done Deal and Green Street. And I was bringing in the Wachovia program. Which anybody listening probably has no idea what Wachovia is.
Yeah.
Or wants to erase it from their memory.
Exactly. And so it was, they had a short sale program for the pick-a-pay
That's
loans.
right.
And I presented to you guys, unbeknownst to me, that you guys were in a partnership with another title company and you were using their room to do your monthly meetings. And you guys had me come in and speak. And then I left everybody a handout for the program and you stayed behind. And that's how we met. You stayed back and you wanted to get in on the platform and figure out, hey, let's get this going ASAP.
That's right. I remember putting people into those loans when it was all of the rage. It was like, negative amortization.
Yeah.
There's so much equity building on a monthly basis. You're never going to run out of equity. And the lenders are creative for sure. The banks were creative at that time.
But that's that was our hello. And you got started immediately. We pulled the list and you went to town on going after distress. That's really where we got to know each other.
Yeah. And then hundreds of deals later.
Literally.
That market was just
in a short time.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, that's what made it crazy, right?
Short time.
Yeah.
And we were trying to figure it out the same way, right?
Yeah.
Everybody had their own little private units, and we do this in our unit. The bank says they'll do this for us, when really it was just Joe on the phone. Yeah, send it over like that. We'll give it a whirl.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
We got very entrepreneurial with it. Like I as a sales rep, because you couldn't find a regular deal. So I would call the banks. I'd figure out who was their escalation officer or their, what did we call them back then? Their their adjuster. What were they called?
The short sale specialist.
Yeah.
They had
or-
titles,
yeah.
right? And so
Loss mitigation was
Loss
one.
mitigation.
Loss
That's what it is. The
was.
loss mitigation expert. And we would go and find the program and the person. We'd find out what they were going to do, and then we'd go and present it and be like, "Hey, got this leg in. Here's who you need to talk to over here." And
Right.
Ask them how big their stack was on
Yeah.
their desk to
That's
make
right.
sure it wasn't
Yeah.
the biggest.
And then
Yeah.
figure out how to
get to the
they were
top.
trying to figure out what paperwork they needed and didn't need
Yeah.
to release
Yeah.
the loan, right? And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you got all the anti-deficiency stuff that came with it.
Totally.
And, yeah, it was.
Oh yeah, we had
it
the
was-
grid, the matrix of
Yeah.
how to make
Yeah.
sure that they were not going to be in harm's way if they
Yeah,
just
if it was purchase money or not, and that
attorneys made a lot of money.
was. They
too.
did, yeah, a lot of money, yeah,
Especially the one.
yeah, yeah.
Well, so with that being said, it goes to show you your creativity in finding niches, because you're really serving another niche now too. So walk us through how you ended up going from that distressed arena. I know you started your own brokerage, all kinds of
Yeah.
zigzags.
So I mean, and that's what it was. We loved investing in real estate. We loved buying the distressed assets. We saw an opportunity to kind of take control of our own destiny at the time, and so there was actually 3 of us that partnered initially, started our own brokerage, and kept buying those distressed assets. And I think somewhere along the way, it just kind of morphed into a retail model. And for me, I quickly found out that retail real estate just wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't my thing. So it's great. It's a great process for the people that like it, but I was really more interested in investing. And then the more retail we did, the more I
Yeah.
disliked that process.
when you
for
say
me.
retail, for our agents listening,
Yeah.
you're talking about that traditional.
Yeah, representing buyers and sellers. It just wasn't what I got involved in real estate for. And then we kind of morphed into that. I think partially too, because as the market started to heal, there were so many investors. I mean, so many investors, even the beginning of the institutional investors coming in and snapping up hundreds at a time, right? Closing hundreds
Yep.
of transactions a month. To where I think the margins got a little bit tight for my personal risk
It got
tolerance.
a lot less sexy once the institutional people came in.
Yeah, I mean, I think margins went down
Yeah.
just because they were willing to pay top dollar. I still think that overall it's a small percentage of the real estate that they own, but there was an impact.
Right.
And so from my perspective, it just made more sense to represent buyers and sellers, or so I thought. And so we started doing that, but because we had all this investment experience and we were buying a lot of distressed properties for ourselves, we were buying them for investors and just facilitating the entire transaction. We ended up folding construction in, or a version of construction in, because you can be an owner builder and do it all day long. But then when you have neighbors call and other agents call, or the agent on the other side of the deal when you're selling the property, or the people that bought the house, they want more work done, then all of a sudden you have to go through this process of getting the license, starting the construction company. And so that's what we did. I mean, I grew up in construction, so it was like second nature for me. And that's kind of where it started. And then you fast forward a few years and you get to 2018, 2019. And for me, I just wanted to focus on construction only. And so kind of made my own way, started my own construction company, left the real estate portion of it behind. I still have my license, but it's, more there for me to help find deals, work with agents, stuff like that. But I don't transact. I refer out everything.
Let's keep a foot in the pool.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's the access,
Yeah.
right? And so for me, the real estate thing just morphed into construction, and then construction took off. And for me, the construction's just highly addictive.
That's
I
awesome.
love it. I love what we do now, especially in the niche that we work is. It's large-scale reno to estate-level homes. That's 80% of what we do. So we're dealing
Say
with
that again. Large-scale
renovations and additions to estate-level homes. That's really, our main focus. 80% of our business is that. There's different kind of versions of how that comes together. The 20% is commercial TI, as long as it's highly custom. So skin aesthetics, outpatient surgery centers, really high-end office, wealth management firms, law firms, stuff like that.
Right.
If it's really custom, and usually our commercial, it comes by way of a client that we did a beautiful project for, who said, I want my office to have my flavor of my house.
Oh, that's
cool. But really we focus on that elite level real estate. So that's, in excess of 3 or 4 million today, as is value. But oftentimes we find ourselves in 6,000 to 10,000 square foot homes that are valued anywhere between say $5 and $15 million.
Wow.
That's kind of our sweet spot. So
it's really incredible what you built, and what would have been the forks in the road that got you there? Because it could not have just been this organic migration into estate, multi-million-dollar renos.
No. Yeah. No, when we started, we were doing really small work. I think the first retail project we worked for a client was $36,000, and it was a partial remodel of a client's house in Scottsdale.
What can you do for $36,000?
Right.
Well, at the time, worked for free. Yeah, we worked for free. I think on a lot of those things, right? Trying to figure out what made sense to do and not do. We even did work for some different REITs where we were turning 20, 30 homes a month to make them rent ready after their acquisition. So it was things like
vineyard kind of stuff.
Yeah, Cerberus or First Key specifically. We'd go in and it's the same ceiling fans and the same door handles, and the same thermostats, and flooring, So really just turn and burn. And I think I ended up losing almost $300,000 working with them. Yeah.
Wow.
So it was so fast and so low margin that there was no way to make money. And so we put a stop to that, and we just kept.
That's a fork.
Growing. That's a huge fork.
That was a major decision.
So investors are not our jam, right? We just figured out that investors for us just don't pencil. It wasn't anything I could ever make work.
I think that, what's really, first of all, want to have exposure for what it is that you guys do, but from a business standpoint, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, that moment to stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah.
And that's huge in business, to be able to kind of have that moment. And maybe it wasn't instantaneous. Maybe it happened over several projects of loss or, not great margin.
Came over the course of a year figuring out.
Yeah, but that is a really good business person that can kind of look at that, because so many people will take any deal they can because they just want business and they're not necessarily being strategic about what they're trying to do. At the end of the day, you got to be productive. We want to generate profit. We want to generate income, right?
No, absolutely. And for us, it was just one of those things where, one, we couldn't keep up. It just literally, they needed, an in-house team, which most of them ended up, I think, migrating to anyways. But it's just finding a place where we can add value, where it's mutually beneficial for the client and us, right? And fortunately, I got to learn from a bunch of great people before me within all of the groups that we ran through the real estate days of, hey, change is just get okay with it, because it's going to happen a lot, right? It's just you're going to be uncomfortable all the time, and you're going to change fast, even when you didn't want to change.
Well,
so we got used to that.
You did it for a year, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it for a year. We gave it a run.
Guys that are working for you, you're paying them. You're taking a loss.
Yeah.
But you're keeping people employed.
Yeah.
They're busy, and I have to make the decision of stop that like a light switch and shift. That's a big decision.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just affect, it affects you ultimately, but I know, you're concerned about the people that work for you and all that.
For sure. And part of it too is we had some retail work, so it wasn't like that was the only thing we did, but that made up probably 75% of what we did, because it just took all our time and energy. And so then we focused on the retail side, and that started really coming along, right? And again, they were smaller, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $100,000 projects.
And that was through the agents from the company?
Yeah, it was a combination.
Okay.
No, it was a little bit of the deals that we did on our real estate side from our real estate agents. We definitely worked for some of the agents that we had at our brokerage at the time. And then also just other agents at other brokerages that we had long relationships with from any number of cross deals. And then just clients, and then referrals, and we really focused on referrals. I had no budget for marketing, and I hate social media other than to turn my own brain off and scroll.
Right.
It's just not not my jam. So we really focused on that area, and it's just started growing and growing all the way up until you get to the beginning of COVID, when we think, oh, we're going to have a banner year. We've got millions of dollars in contracts at the beginning of the year, and then like a light switch at the end of February, everyone just shuts them off.
Yeah.
And so you're just sitting there like, I think I'm going to have to lay my whole team off. I might have to go get a job. Unfortunately, when you look at the things like those payday loans that they did, we picked up one of those.
Oh, yeah, the government programs.
Yeah, and all that got forgiven, which is great. What was really interesting is being essential, whatever that means. It was maybe 30 days of crickets, and then the phone started ringing, and it just never stopped.
Oh, wow.
It was just a tidal wave of work, and it was all of the things from people working remote, like
Yeah.
I got to
need
have
this
my
free,
kids homeschooled, and I got to work at home, and I got to Zoom, and I got to do this and that. And so we just started retrofitting as fast as we could, and we lost all those contracts, but we scrambled all year to kind of the rest of the year to pick that up. And then again, it just started building. And so that was again, like a big kind of eye-opening time, because quickly thereafter, right, now we have all this work. Well, you can't find people to do the work, whether that's trades or employees, and then you can't get any materials. And so now you're signing contracts, you're doing work.
And the materials you can get are 4 or 5 times the cost.
4 or 5 times the cost. There's escalations like crazy, right? And so another big fork, like, well, how do we deal with this? How do we manage this? Because, I mean, you're just getting yelled at, right? Like, you want to perform at a high level. And we started doing bigger and bigger projects. And I think in 2021 or 2022, we started hitting our first 7-figure, projects. And all of a sudden, these clients some of them are well-known clients, well-known business people or, athletes. And we're moving through these projects, stuff that should have taken, 5-6 months, taken 10 or 12, and everybody's unhappy, right? The client's unhappy, we're unhappy. And it was just one of those things where, again, you're working through it. It was 100-hour weeks. It was phone calls nonstop. It was pivoting to any number of trades. And
still while trying to fill the holes in the boat, right?
Yeah.
With people, resources,
all of the above, right? And it's completely out of your control. I mean, there's always stuff we can improve. There's always systems, processes, like all of that workflow that you can make improvements on as a leader or as anybody who's on a team. But the things you can control, shipping, logistics, the lack of people power, right? You're along for the ride. So that part of the plane, you're just trying to duct tape it and build it while you're flying it. But, one thing leads to another. It's perseverance, right? You just keep pushing through. Eventually everything got done. We made no money, but we didn't lose money.
Right.
And that was like
There's
a
something to
critical.
be said for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there are some times in the business where we look to see, like, okay, overall, what did the market produce? And is our boat staying in line? Or is our boat sinking or rising with the tide, right? So. Yeah,
and I mean, we learned a ton from that, right? It was just this overwhelming education, trial by fire almost, right? And so, we made no money, but we finished every job. We didn't walk from a single job.
That's amazing.
Every client got finished, and we didn't lose money, right? And so we got better people. And then what we ended up doing is we actually pulled back. And so we pulled back significantly. We did a workforce reduction on our team. We started focusing on things like EOS, implementing that company-wide, and then a bunch of other, like writing every SOP for everything we do, right? And it's a work that constantly evolves. It's never done, but we clearly were not underprepared. And because we only do reno, which at best, the best made plans in large-scale renovation, it's still chaos.
For sure.
You're mixing old and new. There's a lot of unknowns. Even when we get plans for the homes, they're oftentimes not built that way. So you open a wall, and it's an instant like,
you didn't tell me that was there.
I guess we're going to have to deal with this now, right?
Right.
And some of those are $100,000 oopses that it's just, you couldn't have counted for it, right? You open up a ceiling, you find out the whole ceiling's structurally unsound.
Wow.
The client doesn't pay you to demo the house before you've given them a price for everything. So they're finding out with you, and you're navigating that stuff. So,
and it's so hard because at the end of the day, you're the one having to give them the news.
Yeah.
And then they have to make a decision. And what homeowner is going to say, well, can you just put it back together and we'll live with the unsound roof? I mean, there's no,
Yeah, and then you're resubmitting to the cities, and the cities are a mess, right? The cities are still slow. I mean, there's so much work in the valley, they can't keep up. It's not their fault. It's just, you can't go hire 200 plan reviewers and have them trained and experienced in a short amount of time. Plus, the cities just don't have the budget, right? They don't have enough tax revenue for that.
Well, and some of the cities are prioritizing owner builds, owner permits before company pulled permits. You know, because they want to boost owners trying to do their own thing, so they try and move them to the top of the line.
Yeah, there's all of that ebb and flow in there, right? And it used to be something that you could submit a set of plans and get a permit that's a substantial, like a full review permit in 6-8 weeks. Through the heat of COVID, some of the stuff through City of Phoenix was over a year. On the residential side.
Let
and then
alone
even
when
today, a full submittal for most cities is going to be like 10 to 14 weeks. So
let alone when you need an inspection, right?
Yeah, I can say once we got the permit, even through COVID, we didn't struggle terribly with inspections.
Good.
We were calling them, and within 24, 48
Yeah.
hours,
Showing
they
up.
would come out.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times today, they'll come out same day or next
I mean,
day.
it's actually a pretty great state to do construction in, considering like California is like other states
Onerous.
my
Yeah.
gosh,
Yeah, the
waiting
red
for
tape is-
permits and all that, just bananas.
Yeah, we really do have a great environment here. Other than what we don't have is generational craftspeople.
Right.
Arizona's a border state; it's very
Yes.
transient.
Yep.
Workers
Good
come
point.
and go very quickly, and so whereas when you get to Texas and a little further east,
Get some real
certainly as you get into that
pros.
Midwest to East Coast, you get 3, 4, 5 generations
Yeah.
of masons, painters,
Yep.
Yep.
wood flooring, aficionados, and we just
welders.
don't have that.
Yeah.
So. That's definitely a struggle for us. Labor is going to continue to be a struggle, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants a college degree to go barely earn into 5 figures, but they've
Yeah.
got $250,000 in debt. You can go to a construction company or a union and learn how to do that and get paid
Yeah.
to do that, get an education.
I mean, so many
And then-
golden ticket
Yeah.
nuggets here from Nick.
I mean, I was speaking with an electrician that I'm working with. His company's paying him $65 an hour to work in the field. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
good for him, but that's the market. So if
Wow.
you want to be an MEP trade, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and you can get to a journeyman status, that's the level of income you're talking about. 50, 60, $70 an hour. And those are
Wow.
non-union jobs, right? The union's going to
Even
even earn more than that,
more.
and they're bigger. So it's just
Yeah.
you get to pick your flavor. But
Do you think that you've had like substantial growth with the type of renovations that you're doing? Do you think that there's an impact from the fact that a lot of people, because the home prices went up and then more money got more expensive, do you think a lot more of these homeowners are putting money into their homes that they would have otherwise used to maybe buy real estate or move? Or do you think that the niche has always been there, but you created the company to show up and take care of it? Or both?
I think it's a little of both. I think that up into the COVID timeframe, it was a way better scenario to knock something down and build new. I mean, there was a point in time where you could build a semi-custom home to what I would call an entry-level custom home for $500 a foot. Most of the elite builders that I'm talking with today, when they're working with their clients, the owners who are building real custom homes, you're not even having a conversation less than $1,000 and $1,200 a foot. And there
Wow.
are a number of them that exceed $2,200 a foot.
Wow.
Monsters.
I mean, let's just rewind. We're talking COVID numbers.
Yeah.
That's 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not
Yeah.
that long ago.
No, it's
Yeah.
not.
see
And,
that kind
and
of
part of that
increase.
was when we had that '08 market collapse, right? Our economy here was construction and tourism. I mean,
Yeah.
that was the backbone of Arizona. And so when that went away and prices stagnated, we didn't see significant price increases from basically 2008, 2009, all the way to when COVID hit. And then when COVID hit, they basically made up for everything and then some in a very short amount of
In
time.
6 months.
Yeah. Well, probably a year to year and a half,
Yeah.
but still, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And so there was part of that there was a lag in price increases all through that market
That year.
recovery
Yeah.
before COVID, from that 2008, 2009 all the way to
Yeah.
2019, 2020. And then they just went
It
up
went,
and above that,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then you have the amount of people that are moving here.
I
Right?
definitely,
We're limited on real estate as well. So
just seeing it from the outside in, I definitely see a lot more people kind of going back to your question of why do we need to move? Let's just redo the whole house. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that want to stay, and there's a lot of building here, but the land that maybe they want, where else are we going to get this land? You know what I mean? Where else am I going to get an acre or two to build on in the middle of Scottsdale? That's not going to cost me $5-10 million just
Yeah.
for the lot. Let's rebuild.
Well, and that's kind of the key point, right? So the biggest thing that I've noticed is I did take what I felt was an educated risk, because we only do reno, right? We don't build new. We just, to me, it's heart surgery and brain surgery. The guys the teams that do custom new, they're a doctor, we're a doctor. But we just don't do each
Different
other's job.
specialties,
Like, we're
yeah.
built for one thing: renovation. It's, in my opinion, by multiple factors, more difficult to pull off. And so we focus on that one thing, and we do it very, very well. But to your point, when you look at Central Phoenix, Biltmore, Paradise Valley, Arcadia, and then you start coming north, you really, especially in the luxury community, you see a lot of those 1940s to 1970s ranch style homes, right? 8.5 foot ceilings.
Yep.
They've kind of been bought up, and most of them have been knocked down. It's not that they're not out there; they are, but it's not nearly as prevalent. You see, let me just drive through Paradise Valley and Arcadia. They're big, tall homes, right?
Right.
But what's interesting is then when you start coming north from about, say, Gainey Ranch, McCormick Ranch, you start getting into a lot of early 90s homes to the early 2010s homes, which extend all the way up to Desert Mountain. Well, now all of a sudden, they're big, they're stucco and tile, they've got 12, 14, 18-foot ceilings, they're wide open, and they're on amazing lots, so why knock them over?
Yeah.
You have such a head start, there's just no point in knocking them over.
That's such a good point.
The bones are good.
The bones are good,
Yeah.
right? And so you can come into
Until
these
you
homes.
knock out a wall and find that they're not, but
Yeah, I mean, it does happen.
Yeah.
But it's still, when if you have something that's 25 years old and it's tall and it's wide open, it just makes more sense to renovate it. And so that's the majority of the product that we're seeing based off of the areas we work, which is really Paradise Valley, Biltmore, Arcadia, and then but really like 80% of my work is basically from the Scottsdale Air Park north. And so it's a newer product. It just doesn't make sense to knock those homes over. And so we get clients that are transacting. They're still selling and they're still buying, but it's stuff that it just doesn't make sense to buy new. I mean, we're working on one in North Scottsdale. I think it's on 5 acres up against a mountain.
Nice.
And it's 6,000 square feet with an 8-car garage attached. Amazing views.
They're not going to find that.
It's stucco and tile. It's wide open. We're going to add about 1,500 feet to it and then fully gut and reconfigure the main house. And it's going to be fractional in cost compared to knocking it down. There's just no point in knocking it down.
Well, and I think when consumers are looking at the houses too, I mean, I know I did it. I mean, I'm in a tract home, but trying to find between, a husband and a wife, something you both agree on that you like, that's not a new build.
Yeah.
There's things you don't like, but then you just have to look at it as what makes sense that can be changed easily, not taking into cost, but it can be changed, and what just can't. I think 20 years ago, well, this is only a 3-bathroom. I really wanted 4. That's not going to work. We need to go find a different house.
Yeah.
I think people know it's more common. Yeah, put a bathroom in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's more common to do some of that stuff. They see more of it being done. So they don't just run automatically to, we need to find something different versus let's just add it here.
Yeah, correct. There's a lot of people who basically were in a place where they're like, well, it was just easier to sell the home and buy something new.
Yep.
Right? Well, now all of a sudden you've got somewhat dated homes. They're not selling fast, but they are holding value, right? We're not seeing major, at least from the luxury agents we deal with, we're not seeing major retreats in pricing for something that needs work. Compared to fully finished, move-in ready, beautiful, they're not that far apart, right? At best, we're like dollar in, dollar out.
Right.
So for every dollar you give someone like me to improve it, you're going to get that back. So it's not like, there's a big spread there. But what you can't change is the views, right? You can't change the location.
What
there's
can
just
you not change?
How many mountains can you put a home on? Like there's just not a lot of space left. We're in a big bowl.
Yep.
We can't keep going forever, and there's only certain areas that support that ultra luxury type of product, right? And so when you look at that and say, well, now it doesn't make sense for me to. I've got this basis in this home at $2 million, $3 million bucks, but it's worth $7 million. But I'm going to go spend $10 million to get a lesser home. Yep. I'm just going to go redo the home and make it what I want. So we see a lot of that ultra customization of homes.
I love that.
To be their kind of like forever home or their 3rd or 4th or 5th forever home because they have homes all over the country.
Because they have the money.
Yeah, our clients do.
Yeah.
And so, our clients can do whatever they want.
That's right.
They're not hampered by interest rates. They just don't care, right? We're
That's
dealing with that 1/2 of 1%er, but they're still smart enough to figure out like,
they still know how to make
this
good
home
choices.
makes me happy.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a good choice and make this home what I want because the things it doesn't have, we can add for less time and less money than selling it and buying a new home.
Well, and I think the mindset in that type of customer is different because they're used to highly customized things because of their wealth level, right? Yeah. They're just used to it. I mean, so for them to wait or to design out or to them, that's nothing. That's like what they're accustomed to is having things done exactly how they want them.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find people willing to do that.
Exactly.
There's a lot of amazing builders.
You got to have some really good emotional intelligence on that.
Yeah, they want to do new builds, and I get it. It's an easier process. It's longer, The average ticket price is much higher than a renovation. But there's just not a ton of people doing large scale reno of those estate level homes. And so we just said, we think that need is going to continue to increase significantly because the homes, the bones, if you will, are already there. And there's way more of those than properties that should be knocked down. And today, if you want to build a custom home, I mean, I could give you a list of 50 just stellar custom home builders. I mean, absolutely lights out.
Sure.
You'd have a hard time picking. There's some extreme talent in this state for custom home building. Most of those teams don't want to do reno.
Right. No, you've carved out a really great niche for your company, and finding it and liking it and then executing on it and having a great reputation in it. Let's talk a little bit about the process, because you've mentioned that a little bit. So I'm curious, obviously there's aesthetics involved and design involved. You're a construction person. So what does that look like for you? And also I want to mention that I imagine that how you connect with the real estate community is when they take listings where they haven't thought of this type of solution for a luxury property, that there's some value in that too. And that's probably a different kind of process. But in general, you must have a designer for interior. Walk us through what that looks like when you're setting up a project.
Yeah, so I mean, we partner with great partners. So we don't have interior design in-house. We'll never have it in-house.
Know who you are, know who you're not.
Yeah, we're definitely, I can't even say we're dangerous when it comes to interior design.
I've seen your projects. I'm like, damn, those are nice.
So that I would credit a lot. I mean, yes, we built it, we executed it. Somebody's always got to put it together. But man, we work with some amazingly talented interior design firms in town. We're blessed to be able to have partnerships with them.
Are you connecting the dots for your client, or is your client kind of coming to you and saying, we already have a designer, here's the plan, and or both?
It's all of the above. I mean, we're referral only. About half of our business is business that comes to us first, and then we're directing it to the partners, right? Architectural design, engineering, interior design, we're giving them those people. And then the other half comes back from those referral partners, right? It's just, we do business with people we like to do business with, and that want to do business with us. So it's a pretty good give and take. So we just want to have good partners, because it's a really difficult process.
Yeah.
I mean, it's extremely difficult and time consuming. Just the pre-construction process, if you talk to a builder today and you don't have anything ready to go, but you want to do a project, including permitting, if you need architectural, engineering, permitting, interior design, that process averages 38 weeks.
Holy crap.
And the city's half of it, right?
Yeah.
But
38 weeks.
We're dating for a long time before anybody showed up with a hammer,
shovel,
a shovel, anything, right? And so, but 95% of the success of a build is in that planning. I mean, if it's planned right, most people should be able to execute that.
So you're going in and saying, hey, this is going to cost you $10 million.
Yeah, not quite,
yeah. So it is January 2026, and this won't be done until...
Yeah, so a client would come to us if it's, say, our average house is probably around 7,000 feet, and let's say they want to pull everything out and put it back together. They don't have anybody. We would make the introductions for whatever they need for architectural. We're going to need a set of plans produced that go to the city for approval. We'd make introductions to interior designers. They would start doing their work while we're doing some of our pre-planning work. So we'll scan the house with LiDAR to create an as-built if there's no plans that exist for the property. And then we'll start working through some rough budgets based off of just some information that the client gives us for inspiration, right? We pull real-time data from our current projects, historical data, and then we have a pricing sheet that we meet with all of our trades twice a year on about 700 of the most common things we do, and we update those prices down to an inch, foot, and piece price.
Wow.
And so we're using custom GPTs to pull all that data and then put it into what we call soft bid, and then that way we can deliver that back out before they've invested in architectural, engineering, interior design. And we're saying, hey, based off of real-time info, we're going to say this is 80% accurate today, even though we don't know exactly what you're putting together, because we know what everybody's spending. Yeah. We're looking at, we run 15 to 20 projects at all times. So we have a lot to pull from in real-time data. And then that way the client says, okay, this is within my range, or, oh, wow, this is triple what I was thinking, which really doesn't happen. And then that way they have a starting point. We can deliver that soft bid out to the client, the interior design firm, and the architect, and then we just work through the entire process as they're doing their work. they might be sending us updates, and
Right.
we're doing budget development all along the way. With the goal being, by the time all of the design work is done, our number is very close to what we said it would be months prior.
That's
Because
awesome.
we're developing it along the way. So
Right.
we're not spending
Surprise!
10, 20, 30 grand on architecture, the same amount on interior
Yeah.
design to then say,
Right.
oh, we're triple where you wanted to be. Right? We're
So-
taking the time to do that with them up front. And so that has been really successful for us.
That's awesome.
And moving forward to get them into the construction phase.
So competitively and comparatively, is that process something that other people experience? Is that something that you've put more, your company have put more interest in providing a better bid process?
I mean, for us, it's the experience, and then in knowing how much time goes into it. I mean, there's a selfish component there. I just don't want to.
You don't want to waste time.
I'm not
Yeah.
really getting paid a lot of money
Yeah.
in that planning phase, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we have a nominal cost to that, but it's still
It's
just
38 weeks before you're going to collect on that.
not even that.
At least.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
even that, right? Because that's when you could start, right? And then
Right.
you're only getting deposits up there to cover material costs. So
Right.
it's really like a third of the way through the project by the time you're actually recognizing real revenue. So, which could be 14 months.
Bananas.
12 to 14 months. So for us, it was a little bit selfish in that, well, let's create this workflow in this process so that we can increase the ratio of, hey, I want to do a project, to I'm signing for the project to get the highest ratio we possibly can. Right. And by informing them all along the way, that's how you get that, right? Because we're not finding out and surprising someone down the road. If there's a hiccup, we're finding it whenever that hiccup happens or within a couple
Right.
of weeks and addressing it, because there's ways to value engineer every single project. And so selfishly, we wanted to make sure that if we met a client and said we could do something, we could actually do the build versus, we only have so much bandwidth. We have a lot. I have 21 or 22 people, but you can still only talk to so many people. And if they don't end up building, you've lost 6 or
For
8
sure.
months that you could have dedicated to somebody
Something
else. So
else,
it's
yeah.
helping them understand budget as early and as accurately as possible, which also then leads to a higher closing ratio by the time they are ready to do the work. So, I mean, it's a ton of work to put together. We have to maintain
Yeah.
that database
Yeah.
all year
Again,
long.
a great business strategy. You're a good business person.
Well,
Yeah.
all the different fields, the prices,
Yeah,
from
it's constantly
know,
changing.
Concrete pricing is constantly fluctuating,
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
like that. How do you account for the unforeseen, like you were talking about? So you pull down a ceiling, and you're like, crap.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have disclosures, right, to our clients. In fact, it's funny because of a lot of my disclosures that are not in my boilerplate contract, I took from like a little flavor of the AAR contract, right? So we have a market conditions advisory. We have
Awesome.
a behind your walls notice. Like, if you don't want to pay me to rip everything down first, we could run into something. And so we just have those conversations with clients about, okay, the age of your home is this. We've seen this in the past. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen,
Right.
but we'll build in contingency money to every single project to try to account for those. And if they don't spend that contingency, it's their money.
their money.
They get it back,
That's
or
awesome.
or they don't even give it to us to begin with.
I mean, it's that age-old theory about just communicate. Tell them what they could potentially
Yeah.
expect, right? Like if you could try and cover all the bases and be available and actually communicate. I mean, I think that's massive. I mean, and I love, it's a great business strategy. Like like you said earlier, like it's selfish, but it's not, because it creates a great experience for the people you're serving.
Yeah, it's a totally two-way street. It's
Yeah.
a mutually beneficial outcome, right? It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time invested to make that happen, but you have happier clients along
Right.
the way.
And
So
that
let-
happier client is the only way you're going to keep
getting more of those
business.
referrals.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So transitioning to, I love what you do. I think it's awesome. It's like just riches are in the niches,
Yeah.
bitches, right?
That's right.
So, but let's transition a little bit. Like, how do you connect with the real estate community? Because I know our wheels turn in terms of
Yeah.
how we want to make connections through McCully Construction with our sales team and our agent community. But talk a little bit about the benefits of how you can partner with agents.
Right. So the most obvious is when there's a buyer who's interested in a property and they're going to do work, but they don't know where that work's going to come in at, or even have like a foggy idea. We can come in, walk the property, and with things like that, information in the MLS, its square footage, understanding what the client's just baseline desires are for the net product of that. Usually within about 48 or 72 hours, we can deliver a soft bid.
Okay.
And so it's very fast. And if it's 80% accurate.
And that's through the realtor, like you and the realtor collaborating, or they're actually bringing in their buyer?
We'll meet with the buyer and the agent specifically to then cover kind of what their goals are and say, okay, here you go. Here's about 80% accurate. If this makes sense for you, feel good about buying the home. Like, we'll put our name on it. So that's and I think there's other outfits in town that could probably do something similar. The thing that we put together that we find really interesting is you got a home that's dated, and it's really hard to imagine what it could be.
Right.
Buyer can't imagine it, or the seller has something so unique that they even the listing agent's kind of struggling with reimagining what the space could be. And so we call it the homes that even staging won't fix. Yeah. Right? These big homes, it's like not even staging is going to get you there. So on those, we would come in. We would either have a set of as-built plans if the owner still has those, which is the best case scenario. But if they don't, we started a program where we'll come in, we'll scan the home with LiDAR, create an as-built drawing, and then we'll work with an interior design partner to reimagine maybe 1 to 3 of the most important spaces of the home, which might be changing the layout. The interior designer will help us reimagine that space. We'll adjust the CAD to that new footprint, and then we'll have the interior designer put a palette together of finishes, which we'll then take and render photorealistic. We'll take all that information back from the design partner and attach a scope of work and a price and a budget, or a price and a timeline to that, and then we can deliver that. And so that way you have this marketing piece that you can use as a listing agent, or again, it'll work for the buyer too, but specifically if you've got this big dated monster home, the agent can say, here's an as-built, here's a new footprint.
And it's real, it's a real.
Here's a design palette, and here's photorealistic finishes that we've put together of that space with that palette, and then here's a scope, budget, and timeline. And they can use that to market it, and we make ourselves available to have follow-up calls, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's got a little bit of cost to it. But
I would say, is that like a loss leader for you in general?
For sure. I mean, we make no money on it.
Right.
I'm trying not to lose money on it, but the as-built CAD, if we have to produce that, it costs around 40 or 50 cents a square foot, which is fractional compared to market.
Absolutely.
I think market's $1 to $2 a foot if you pay someone to come out and measure. We're using the technology that we own with the Matterport Pro camera to then convert that, but Matterport charges us 40 to 50 cents to convert that scan into a CAD. And then the interior designers might be $1,000 to $2,000 depending on what we're doing, right? And so there is a little bit of cost to that the agent or the marketing, the agent might put in for the marketing of the home.
Right.
But it's really powerful when you see photorealistic images with a budget and a timeline. Because people think it's going to be, this is going to take 2 years.
Yeah.
And the reality is, we're pulling 6,000 to 8,000 square foot homes apart and then putting them all back together in about 12 months. So it's not that long. Then if we're picking parts of a home, it's even less time than that.
I feel like pretty soon you'll be able to, when you do that like as-built experience, like now when you go into the home, we get the goggles and we can actually walk through your as-built experience.
It's definitely coming.
That's coming next.
What's funny is years ago there was a company
right now, but
one of the malls. It was like one of those carts in the middle, and that's exactly what it was. Everything was screens around you. You just walked in, and then it would just take you through the house. It was a new builder that tried it.
Yeah, I remember that was them.
And now that the technology's there, why wouldn't you?
It's coming for sure. There's already programs out there, more on the commercial side, where you put the goggles on and then you would walk through and see all the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, mechanicals for say a building. And then you can virtually see where all that stuff is and should be. It's coming for that kind of finished space.
David wants that just to have fun with.
That's like the most exciting thing I've heard.
We need the technology to get a little better, and then we need the prices to come down. Because right now it's big companies, like we're talking about multi-billion-dollar a year commercial companies that are investing into that.
And even out here,
and first in is usually, the most skin knees, right?
For sure.
And the most expense.
Yeah.
Can
we wear those goggles so it can show me where my post-tension cables are in the slab? Because that'd be a lot cheaper than hiring somebody.
You probably could, and I would just, I'm a strong proponent of not messing with post-tension. Just work with the space that you have.
This is hilarious.
Added a bathroom.
Nick's like, I actually know what I'm doing, and David's like, this would be fun.
I've dug in between the cables before. You're right. It is not fun.
Yeah, the X-ray is still not as good as it could be, and you're asking for trouble.
Either of you were talking about.
It was fun, though.
You can find some good videos of post-tension cables snapping on YouTube if anybody's interested.
It's hilarious. Okay, this has been really awesome. I think that after, we reconnected and you came and talked to me and David, we were just like, wow, this is a really great platform offering, and you love it and you're good at it. And so it's just awesome to have you on today to get to talk more in depth about not just like what you're doing, but your business acumen too. I mean, you're a great entrepreneur. So,
thank you.
I
try.
It's awesome. It's really great. What is something that maybe we haven't talked about that you want to touch on? We always like to ask too, like, what's the best way we can support you? Obviously, best way for people to get in touch with you as well.
Well, I mean, the easiest way to find us, our website has all of our contact information on it, right? So McCullyConstruction.com. That's the easiest way. What have we not talked about?
Do people get you?
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah. I walk almost every single project.
Question.
I think that's important. It's your
I
name.
meet with almost every single client early on. And
Good.
then, my team supports me. There's no way for me to possibly manage the workload that we have as a team. We've got some great people. We have our client liaisons, which are ensuring that communication flow is always open in the entire pre-construction process. We've got the administrative team, which is helping with back-end logistics. We have the estimators, and then you've got the superintendents once it goes active. So I definitely can't run all the projects, but I'm extremely involved in the entire pre-construction process. So they do get me for sure, and I walk projects like crazy.
Okay, good. I love that.
That's awesome.
So McCullyConstruction.com.
Yep.
You get Nick
Yep.
and his whole team. And anything else you want to share with us?
No, from our perspective, we just talked about what we're doing within the real estate community already and kind of expanding on that. And so for us, like the agents that are working in that luxury real estate, they're really in control of a special market, right? Like that's the key. That when you have a top tier professional who's listing or helping transact on a luxury piece of real estate, they just know that better than most people. So we're trying to add value back to that community. That's really my goal within continuing to push forward through all of our real estate relationships.
I love it.
So
Yeah, well, you are. This has been very valuable today.
Cool. Well, thank you for having me.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah.
It's so
Thanks,
great.
Nick.
You guys
Appreciate it.
definitely listen in on this one.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us.
See you later.